We are here today to learn a little bit about fuel additives. How do you know if the additive that you're using does what it says on the bottle? We provide 4 bench tests, and what we're going to do here today is do a comparative test. The 4 things that we're testing is for carbon detergency, burn efficiency, burn residue, and water and moisture. And the reason why you want these 4 functions out of an additive, without relying on what it says on the label, you want to see it with your own eyes if the product that you've used in the past actually does what it says on the bottle. So the first test is a carbon detergency test. On the bottom of a pop can, there's carbon-based ink. If the additive has a high carbon detergency value, it will be able to remove the carbon-based ink on the bottom of a pop can. So for the purpose of this demonstration, we've randomly chosen a retail grade off-the-shelf product. When you go into a store, there's probably like 27 different additives on the shelf. The challenge I would pose to you as a user of additives is do the bench test so that you know that what you're buying actually does what it says on the bottle. So let's get started with our little bench tests here. Again, I will talk over here what I'm doing. So on the bottom of a pop can, I'm going to repeat that. There's carbon-based ink. If the additive has a carbon detergency value enough to get rid of soot deposits and carbon in your engine, it needs to at least break down the carbon-based ink. And without even agitating it, you're going to see that carbon-based ink is starting to break down. So what it's doing, the XP3 is attacking the carbon molecules, breaking it down to 5 micron or less, to the point where after it's done breaking it down, it won't even be visible to a human eye. So the human eye can only see a certain size of particle. So it looks like it's disappearing, but it's not magic, it's chemistry. So it's chemically attacking the carbon. Then we look at a retail grade additive. You would expect most retail grade additives to be able to break down the carbon. As you can see here, I don't know if the camera can catch it because it's a bit different discolored. It's not really breaking down the carbon-based ink. If it is, it would be like a scale of 2 to 10. So that would be considered a fail from the carbon detergency test. The next test that we're going to do is we're going to measure burn efficiency. If an additive claims to be able to get more energy out of your fuel and burn clean to help with your Tier 4 emission control equipment, it needs to at least burn clean by itself natively. So this is the XP3 diesel. You can see the flame is very, very light. That would be considered a clean burning aspect of an additive. Also, the ignition point is important. You saw I had to put the flame on this thing twice. You can already see a different color. It's a little bit darker, more orange. And if you look at the smoke that it's emitting, not sure if the camera can actually pick it up. Imagine what that does in a Tier 4 emission controlled. You're going to have your diesel particulate filter clog up faster, and you're going to have regen cycles cycle more. So your DEF consumption goes up by adding something in your fuel that's supposed to be more efficient, and your diesel particulate filter will clog up sooner. So this would be considered a fail. This would be considered a pass. Now, as this is burning down, we're going to go into the last test, because there's 2 more tests, which is a water moisture test. So the reason why you're doing a water test with a fuel additive is with the bio content now in the fuel, the bio is hygroscopic. It'll actually suck moisture from the air and bring the parts per million of water in your fuel out of spec. Anything above 400 parts per million, you're at risk of getting water that is in suspension fall out of suspension and end up as freestanding water on the bottom of your tank, which causes conditions for rust to happen, for microbes to live in, Lots of problems with water and fuel. Basically, water and fuel don't mix. Well, there's the reason why you have that. So while this burns down, we're going to do the water moisture test. So all we're doing here, this is a test tube. If you can see the bottom of the test tube. In this case, the water goes right to the bottom. Where does your fuel get picked up? In a vehicle, in the bottom. So if you have biofuel in your diesel equipment or ethanol in your gasoline equipment, you're at risk. If you're not using a stabilizer that can manage water and moisture, you're at risk of that fuel fouling and having other issues related to water in the fuel. Now let's go in the XP3. What you're seeing happening there is the XP3 is attacking the water molecule, the H2O, chemically altering it. And without even agitating, you could say it goes hazy and then goes back to clear. So I'm hoping the camera can capture that, because that's a very important aspect of determining if any additive has the ability to stabilize fuel, keep the fuel consistent across the entire tank for storage and even for long-term usability. The last test that we're almost done, the last test is a burn residue test. What does the additive leave behind after it's burnt down? In a diesel engine, you want the right type of and the right quantity of lubricator. When you look at the XP3 diesel additive, you can see that clean yellow lubricating agent. And if you put your finger on this and rub them together, it's a very clean, non-sticky residue. So this is the right type of and the right quantity of lubrication for a diesel engine. Basically what it does is it makes your injector pump last longer, it makes your injectors last longer, and we will take a look at the retail grade additive. So think of XP3 as an industrial strength commercial grade version of what you've used in the past. Another thing I encourage users to do, pull the MSD sheet on the additive that you're using. If the majority of the MSD sheet shows middle grade distillate fuel or naphtha or any other fuel, they're using it as filler, and the active ingredients are usually the smallest percentage. So double check your MSD sheets with the product that you've used in the past, compare it to XP3. But here what we're seeing is, you can see how much darker this residue is after the burn down. And then if I put my finger on it, you see the molasses type of residue on it. So this is not a good thing. Even the can sticks to my finger. So imagine what that can do for injectors. It can lead to injector stiction. Not good. For more information about the XP3 industrial grade fuel additive, you can go to xp3canada.com or you can go to video.xp3.ca. It'll give you a series of videos that will start off with very basic information and then go into more detail for those who want to go down the rabbit hole. And in closing, just have comfort that this product is an industrial grade product sold around the world for over 35 years, mainly used by industry, but in Canada it's available through select dealers and distributors and channels, similar to Shorty generators. So you can get your XP3 product at Shorty generators in Regina.